tell me about your Christmas light displays.
One year when we were living in San Jose, my wife just we really need to do something special. And that year they had just come out with the what I call chaser lights, where the strings would chase. So I put together. I had a concept for a Christmas star that would be way up in the air and then have star beams coming down in the chaser lights. So one of my favorite materials is conduit. And so I, with a half-inch conduit, built a triangular frame that could put the star way up, and had these beams that come down, the star beams with the chaser lights. And they were available in 4 colors. Mm-hmm. And so I took all the bulbs out and put the blue ones up at the top to sort of be cold, and then went to the green and then the yellow and then the red at the bottom. So it came down. And it kind of stood out among the residents. I put it up against the chimney to try and get it up high. Although one of our friends' daughter thought it looked like a popsicle.
Well, the lights were just on the string,
right,
from the star to the base. The star was impressive though, because it was plywood cut out with. And I remember you having to lay out this tracing pattern so that, from the center of the star is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that repeats, so you had to go back and forth with the lacing of the...
So the star shape was radiating outwards. But my memory is that you figured that out.
Okay, well, I know I did version 2.0, because there was a second version.
Yeah, and we attached the star beams to PVC pipe to keep it straight.
So rather than having the 6-inch space, now they were tight to each other.
Yeah, and they were actually...
Yeah, spread out further at the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, that was calculated on a spreadsheet. So I had
the spacing got larger as it got further.
To measure each light on the first one, but then on the other 5, I just matched it.
And that 1/16 of an inch difference on each one was really noticeable.
Yeah, I thought it was. And then so we moved it around mounted it on the garage instead of the chimney because it was more visible out there, and then added a Bethlehem skyline in red lights, and then a outline of a stable kind of roof and in yellow lights, and had Joseph in green lights, an outline of Mary in blue lights, and then a little bundled baby in white lights again, and that got a lot of attention from our friends.
I thought the skyline was very clean because it was 1 inch on center red lights that just perfectly outlined it. And then I recall going to kind of a third version where we went to all white tracer lights. And I liked that one. Personally, that was my favorite, but it wasn't as colorful.
Yeah, had one of my managers lived just down the street, and he had come from the East Coast, and his dad, who was elderly, was visiting for Christmas, and he said the night before he was going to go home, the next day, this fellow found his dad out front looking at those lights, and he said, "I can go home now."
Well, and then I remember making a sign that was Happy New Year and Merry Christmas, and they were on a plastic grid mesh, like fencing material, and we needed to switch between the two. And you brought home a couple time delay relays.
Right.
And kind of had an idea of how to have one count down, and then it would turn the other one on, and it would count down, and they'd go back and forth. And I remember spending quite a bit of time playing with the wires, trying to we could get it to count down, and then do it once, but it wouldn't go back. Yeah. And then it finally worked. And I said, "Well, what'd you do?" And you couldn't remember. You had no idea why it worked.
Yeah, it just worked. Never figured out why, but we left it that way.
So yes,
he was a youngster, and he spent his time laying these lights out on on this mesh and then attaching it to the fence.
Yeah, lots of October's and November outside laying out these Christmas lights, and then I think we eventually got smart and moved it upstairs and did a lot of fabrication inside.
Yeah.
Because you just can only get rained on so much and zapped by light bulbs that are broken. I've never been equaled. I've never been able to manage a Christmas light display quite like we did back in that house.
Yeah, and we did it with really primitive
controllers.
And lighting. You know, I look at the LED bulbs now that are like on the Ferris wheel in California Adventure, and wow, what we could have done with those.
Yes, it was all very analog type of solutions to most of these things.